Today is September 22nd. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today, we're beginning a couple new things. We're going to be reading Chapter 6 into action. We'll be reading part of page 71. And we'll also be beginning out of the 12 and 12, Step 11. We'll be reading page 96. And of course, we'll read today's daily reflection in 24 hours a day. So with that, we've been given a brand new set of 24 hours, my friends. I hope you're doing well. It feels good to be sober, and it feels good to be free. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. Alright, my friends. First of all, I apologize. I said 71. I guess I read an extra page yesterday, but that's okay. We're actually reading page 72, the first paragraph, in Chapter 6, in action. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Chapter 6, into action. Having made our personal inventory, what should we do about it? We've been trying to get a new attitude, a new relationship with our Creator, and discover the obstacles in our path. We have admitted certain defects. We have ascertained in a rough way what the trouble is. We put our finger on the weak items in our personal inventory. Now these are about to be cast out. This requires action on our part, which, when completed, will mean that we have admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our defects. This brings us to the fifth step in the program of recovery mentioned in the preceding chapter. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for the knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Prayer and meditation are our principal means of conscious contact with God. We AAs are active folk, enjoying the satisfactions of dealing with the realities of life, usually for the first time in our lives, and strenuously trying to help the next alcoholic who comes along. So it isn't surprising that we often tend to slight serious meditation and prayer as something not really necessary. To be sure, we feel that it is something that might help us to meet an occasional emergency. But at first, many of us are apt to regard it as a somewhat mysterious skill of clergymen, from which we may hope to get a second-hand benefit. Or perhaps we don't believe in these things at all. To certain newcomers and to those one-time agnostics who still cling to the AA group as their higher power, claims for the power of prayer may, despite all the logic and experience and proof of it, still be unconvincing or quite objectionable. Those of us who once felt this way can certainly understand and sympathize. We well remember how something deep inside of us kept rebelling against the idea of bowing before any God. Many of us had strong logic too, which proved that there was no God whatever. What about all the accidents, sickness, cruelty, and injustice in the world? What about all those unhappy lives which were the direct result of unfortunate birth and uncontrollable circumstances? Surely there could be no justice in this scheme of things, and therefore no God at all. Daily Reflection, September 22nd. A limitless load. Like a gaunt prospector, belt drawn in over the last ounce of food, our pick struck gold. Joy at our release from a lifetime of frustration knew no bounds. Father feels he has struck something better than gold. For a time he may try to hug the new treasure to himself. He may not see at once that he has barely scratched a limitless load, which will pay dividends only if he minds it for the rest of his life and insists on giving away the entire product. Alcoholics Anonymous, pages 128 and 129. When I talk with a newcomer to AA, my past looks me straight in the face. I see the pain in those hopeful eyes. I extend my hand, and then the miracle happens. I become healed. My problems vanish as I reach out to this trembling soul. "24 hours a day, September 22nd. AA thought for the day. Step 8 is made a list of all persons we'd harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9 is made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Making restitution for the wrongs that we have done is often very difficult. It hurts our pride. But the rewards are great. When we go to a person and say that we're sorry, the reaction we get is almost invariably good. It takes courage to make the plunge, but the results more than justify it. A load is off your chest, and often an enemy has been turned into a friend. Have I done my best to make all the restitution possible? Meditation for the day. There should be joy in living the spiritual life. A faith without joy is not entirely genuine. If you are not happier as a result of your faith, there is probably something wrong with it. Faith in God should bring you a deep feeling of happiness and security, no matter what happens on the surface of your life. Each new day is another opportunity to serve God and improve your relationships with other people. This should bring joy. Life should be abundant and outreaching. It should be glowing and outgoing in ever-widening circles. Prayer for the day. I pray that my horizons may grow ever wide. I pray that I may keep reaching out for more service and companionship. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading. And man, oh man, I love the meditation for the day in this 24 hours a day entry. There should be joy in living the spiritual life. A faith without joy is not entirely genuine. I believe I've shared this many times. I believed in a higher power before I darkened the rooms to some of these fellowships and before I found the program. But I had a jaded view where my higher power was going to get me. He knew all my flaws, and he was like an angry dad, and I was just waiting to get a beating for it. Like I didn't deserve the life that I have, and then I'm just going to get it. And, I won't go down that rabbit hole and maybe what caused that previous prejudice of my higher power, but I remember when I started working with some friends in the steps, and they, and then I'm reading the big book, and it says, you have to let some of those old ideas of God go. And I thought that was blasphemous. I was like, what? But I think the root of it for me was, okay, this angry, I'm going to get you. I know what you did last summer, God, that I believed in and was kind of raised up to believe in. I had to let him go. But long story short, the more research I did, not just in the program, but other literature that I read, my view and perception of God of my higher power completely changed. And I saw him far more as a God of unconditional love. And the self-hatred that I had been exhibiting for so long, I realized that was almost disrespecting my higher power, because I'm his son. And again, this is just my belief system, but the point I'm trying to make here is I went from being this shameful, skittish person that wanted nothing to do with God because I was afraid of him, to truly being joyous and free and wanting to cling to my higher power every single day, one moment at a time. And I don't take myself seriously. I make a lot of mistakes. I mean, obviously you can tell with the podcast, right? But I'm happy, and I'm not part of a glum lot. A lot of the people that I see in the rooms, a lot of times you don't know where that room is. Just listen for the laughter. You can find it. I've never met a group of more genuine people than I have in these fellowships that will tell you, some pretty shocking things, right? tell a whole group of people some shocking things about their past that, never in a million years would you tell somebody outside of these fellowships. And you look around the room at the reactions of people and they're nodding their heads going, yep, or I did worse than that, or yep, I know exactly where you're coming from. And we can all laugh about it, right? Where else do you get that sincerity? It's amazing. But again, people are laughing and it's not, of course, the disease of alcoholism is a life or death disease. But to be in the lifeboat of sobriety, one day at a time, that is a reason to celebrate one day at a time. And for me to praise my higher power, just to be sober today. Nothing else goes right. If I'm sober today, thank you, God. And if you are sober today, you have reason to celebrate. And if you're not, my friend, trust me when I say you do not have to do this alone. You get the support you need. There are online fellowships. There are fellowships in person. You got a million podcasts. You can pick up the big book, the 12 and 12, start thumbing through it. Whatever that baby step might be. If it's to choose not to pick up a drink today, that is the biggest baby step you could ever possibly take. And then if you go to bed and you wake up the next day and you try to do it all over again. Just one day at a time. So with that, my friends, if we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.